If you're constantly feeling soreness and pain in your hips, low back, knees, and even your mid back, and you're not addressing the root cause, you're going to be constantly chasing after short-term solutions. Stretching, massage, chiro, physio, all of these may give temporary relief, but they're not addressing the true root cause, which is lack of mobility and strength. And the truth is, there's no quick fix to this type of pain. But instead of allowing myself to become overwhelmed by all of the conflicting health advice out there, whether I'm doing too much or too little, whether I'm even doing any of the exercises right, I just focus on these 4 key movements every single day to help keep me mobile for life. Hi, I'm Mike. I'm a chiropractor and a master's of science in exercise, and I help people get out of pain. It's all I do. So let's get to the exercises. But first, here's a quick disclaimer. So the first movement we're going to do today isn't really much of a movement at all, but it's so critical for healthy spinal movement and overall mobility. This is deep core breathing. This is meant to be a resting position. While we are not doing too much movement, this is meant to be focused and intentional. But what this is doing for us is it's getting oxygen into our muscles, while also helping our nervous system to reset and be consistently in a state of calm. Lastly, when we engage our core purposefully, the little muscles in our spine that help contribute to the spine's stability, and when they are misfiring, they start to cause a lot of our low back pain, they begin to relax and fire properly so that the movements that we are doing start to feel safe. So a good routine I like to do for this is to lay down on my back with my knees bent, as you see here. Then, to make sure that I am properly activating my core, I like to visualize as I'm taking a deep breath, a balloon that I'm expanding with my core, and I'm expanding it outwards to the side and then all the way down through to my legs. So as I'm inhaling, that balloon is filling up with air in my core. And then when I breathe out, I'm trying to make sure that the balloon isn't deflating, that I'm not compressing and squishing it. And what this is doing is properly activating and bracing our core muscles, both in our spine as well as the broader muscles in the entire core. So on my in breath, we can take 3 to 4 seconds. And then on the out breath, we can also take 3 to 4 seconds. So nice and slow and easy, but also being deliberate with those breaths. And so we can do 10 of these breaths in and out, and then we can relax. And then we'll head to the second movement and exercise. Great job. So the second movement I like to do is known as a modified dead bug. These exercises are great, again, for core strength and stability, but also for spinal health. And why this is important for overall mobility is that back pain, or our fear of movement because of back pain that we've experienced, can often result from that lack of strength I mentioned earlier. So it's very important that we build up from first principles. We start to build up the tiny muscles and we do movements in our back that are safe and controlled so that we build up a tolerance over time. And with that, we can start to eliminate our back pain and grow stronger and attack it head on. Often there's this misconception that there's damage to our back and we shouldn't move our back, but what is the most effective mechanism to battle back pain over time is actually to do movements to keep the joints and the muscles moving, because that encourages healing over time. So how I do this exercise is I will go onto my back, as you see here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise my legs either with my knees bent, as you see here, or I can raise them up to 90 degrees. From here, I will bring the opposite hand and elbow up, and then I will slowly extend the raised leg straight and the opposite hand straight back, and then I will bring them together into the center. So then once I've done that movement, I can then switch and do the opposite arm and opposite leg and do the same motion. And we want to do this 8 to 10 times with each arm and leg. And once you've done that, we can move on to the third exercise. Great job. So the next movement I like to do daily as part of my routine is known as 90-90 hip rotation. Now, part of the reason we all feel hip and low back pain is because a lot of us are sitting at our desks all day, and what this does is compresses the spine and our pelvis, when in reality we were designed to do a lot more motion, and that motion helps keep those areas of our body healthy. And unfortunately, a common misconception with tight joints, tight muscles, is that we should be stretching more. But often what stretching does when we have tight hip joints and tight muscles in that area is that it causes our body to actually tighten up even more to protect those same joints that don't have enough movement in them. So what these motions are doing is encouraging gentle movement while also slowly introducing strengthening and good tension to build up the resilience of the muscle. And so this movement helps keep your hips mobile inside the hip socket, inside the pelvis, so that it can move with safety. What's even more interesting is that hip mobility is often a root cause of knee pain that some of us experience. And so once you get the hip moving properly and the body understands that it is safe to move within a certain range, we often see knee pain start to dissolve. Now at the beginning, this position might be kind of difficult, so feel free to start out very slowly. As you see here, feel free to use your hands to assist with the movements. I still need assistance because I'm dealing with a previous injury from soccer in college, and so I'm working up towards having the ability to sit straight up and move my hips in the same way, and that means I have a lot of mobility in my hips. So we can do this 10 times each side, as you see here, again, modifying if we need to by leaning further back, giving our hips more ability to open up. But if you do this every single day, nice and controlled, nice and smoothly, you should see significant progress over time. So once you've done 10 each side, we can go on to the fourth and final movement. Great job. So the last non-negotiable movement that I do every single day to help keep my body mobile and pain-free is deep squats. And now these aren't just workout squats, but really getting down to a place where we have good solid mobility all the way through our ranges. We're really challenging our knees and our hips to work together, and we're getting a full range in these areas. Now, if we're just starting out, of course, it is totally okay to go less than 90 degrees. We don't want to push ahead past our limits at this time. But what we want to work towards is slowly increasing that range of motion in the hips and the knees like I talked about. Now, you may notice none of this has any extra weight attached to it. It's just body weight. So if you're very limited in your movement, we want to just go down to the place where we feel stable but slightly challenging. And of course, we don't want to push through any pain. We want to only go up to the point where we start to feel pain and then back off. If you're very limited in your ranges, you can even start with just 10 to 20 of these per day. But what I would encourage you to consider is as you do this after a few weeks or maybe even a month or so, we want to start to incorporate it into any opportunity that we have to induce motion in those joints. So if we're watching TV or we're reading a book, maybe just take a moment and do 10 of these squats. Again, the more motion we do, as long as it's not causing pain, the better it is for our body. If you want to work other areas of your knees and hips, you can do it with your heels slightly elevated. This just takes some of the pressure off of the knees and helps work different muscles in your lower body. All right, so once you've done 10 to 20 of these, we are done. Great job. So what's great about all of these exercises is that I don't need dozens of different drills and overwhelming myself with all sorts of combinations of exercises to see real results and progress with my mobility. With time, intention, and consistency, I can start to move away from aches and pains and towards a life of freedom. Remember, we eat daily, we sleep daily, and yet we don't seem to move enough daily. We seem to have lost that part of our routine. No matter where you are in your life right now, these movements are foundational to a lifetime of true health. You'll begin to see your body transform from a tentative body to a strong and resilient one. Thankfully, these movements don't need much, if any, equipment or an expensive fancy home gym. They just need you and your effort and your determination. So if you want even more simple exercises just like this one to help keep you moving and pain-free, I have a free group where I have even more workout plans and movements to help keep you pain-free for life. Click here in the description to join. And if you want to see even more mobility exercises just like this, click this video here where I go over even more fundamental exercises and movements to help keep you moving pain-free for life. Click here to see that video. All right, thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks.